Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's #1 rated sportsbook. And you use that code CHGO when you sign up, and you just get the greatest deals of all time, because that's what we do for you here. And we appreciate DraftKings being a sponsor. We appreciate Bears fans all being here today. Welcome into our Thursday show. Got a big one for you. Nick Wright is going to be joining us today. Lots of strong thoughts as always. Nick is wearing some kind of vest. What's going on over there?
Are we not digging the vest? No, not a Nick thing. Is this keeps me warm?
Okay. I don't. Unlike your other co-host, I don't quibble with your garments because you dress well.
Quibble with garments?
I'm not a garment quibbler.
He definitely dressed well.
It's just different.
We've got, we're geared up. I got QB1. You've got CHGO Bulls going on. Today.
So I'm the odd man out with no CHGO. So
Nick's ready to go out and act like it's Friday after on a Thursday and have a happy hour.
Yeah, I was in the Bulls happy hour last night for a little bit.
You know what? I was trying to jump in, and then
you talked Bears.
The thing about having an 8-year-old is he doesn't always want to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Happens.
So before I knew it, it was 9. And also I got really sucked into the Netflix documentary, the golf one.
I have seen that one.
This Full Swing.
I haven't watched
it's
it,
so good.
Yeah.
They basically followed all these PGA Tour golfers.
This was last year?
They just came out.
No, I know, but like it filmed last season?
They filmed it all last year during all the live golf stuff, during shows Justin Thomas's comeback at the PGA Championship. It's so good. It's so good. Joel Damon is now my favorite human being of all time, right next to Mark Carman. You and Joel Damon would get along.
Thanks, buddy.
Damon?
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 I
don't know.
Damon?
I think
there's an H in there.
I'll have to watch.
Hey, Greg Braggs,
Damon.
hi to you, buddy. I see you not saying hello to me. That's rude. But, I do like your end of night tweets that whenever you watch television and you just feel like you've got to you have something that you want to let everyone know, and it shows a range. Your depth is expanding.
It gives it away that I was not watching Jalen Carter film last night. I was watching golf.
It's okay. You got the whole weekend.
I'm a secret. I don't even think it's a secret, but I secretly love golf. I watch a lot of golf.
Yeah, right. That's
especially this time of year. This is golf and curling season.
Hit the like button if you don't watch golf,
except for the curling.
Right.
Go on the
we haven't talked about this week.
Like
I thought we'd get into it earlier in the week, but I may have broken 6 international laws to finally get access to the curling going on in Canada right now.
The Scotties.
That's what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Well, you need that.
Say it pays to have a family member who lives in Canada. Okay.
That private VPN is what you need.
Yes, but that wasn't the issue. I have that.
PIA.
I already
VPN.
used that to get the better version of Game Pass that exists. Secret time, as Bert Kreischer would say.
I've seen it.
But the thing about this was you had to pay to get access to TSN, which is Canada's ESPN, partly owned by ESPN, offering ESPN the Scotties for free, and ESPN not showing it on their app for some reason. There's no logic there whatsoever. Anyway, long story short, you have to actually live in Canada.
You found loopholes.
Which I don't.
You found loopholes.
So
Got your curling fix.
Yeah, like button for.
I don't think we have problems with Canada. I think we can coexist with Canada.
Like button for wanting to visit Canada. Like button for wanting to go to Montreal or of Toronto or of Vancouver. I've never been to.
Hoping to go to Vancouver in July.
I've been to Vancouver for 2 days. I had a buddy who lived out there, but I really want to go to Montreal because I hear the people are amazing. I hear it's beautiful.
I've heard great things.
And Toronto, let's go see the Bulls and the Raptors.
Les Québécois, huh?
Yeah.
En Montréal.
Je vais.
Pardon?
Congratulations to Mayank, by the way, who took me out last night. And
félicitations.
Yes, for sure, senor. No.
Monsieur.
Monsieur
Monsieur Laurent.
What the hell's going on?
Je sais quoi.
Are you guys done yet?
Hey, the Nick Wright conversation come up is going to be sweet. He's got
and it's going to make way more sense than whatever conversation you guys just had.
I think that was good bonding for me and Lawrence, to be honest.
You got a little culture.
What's going on? You looking at my Angelo Blackson?
Yeah.
Wait.
What do you call it?
My Angelo Blackson. He's done, man. Bears avoided the contract of Angelo Blackson. I thought that would be the lead today.
That happened 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And
it was an update on the website, right? Was that one of the guys?
Why have we talked about it?
Because his contract was scheduled to void. He had
But it's in the
void
chat. They're talking to Angelo Blackson. I feel like we missed something.
Guys. Have you heard of these thing called void years that they've put on the contracts? We know when contracts void. He has been on my list here, my glorious spreadsheet that I should probably share with people.
What about Aaron Rodgers coming out of
at least you guys
quarantine?
The Hobbit-like
now
structure
that's interesting.
They wrote about.
But no, Blackson's been listed on my upcoming UFAs since November. He didn't get cut, guys. He was scheduled to have his contract voided.
Can we at least have a moment?
Also, he wasn't even there. Did you guys see locker room cleanout day? Remember, he was a healthy scratch at the end of the year, and then locker room cleanout day, it was just gone. Like, I don't think he's coming back, guys.
I think Angelo Blackson was the one Bear that I never spoke to all year. Me and Angelo never bonded. I feel
surprising.
I feel bad about that.
Well, that's probably why he got his contract voided.
He didn't know the card.
Did you hang with Blackson?
I don't think I spoke to him once.
Did you talk to Blackson?
By the way, I really like Blackson in 2021.
He had his moments.
And I just don't think he was a great fit for the defense last year, and just wasn't a good fit. It's all good.
Okay.
How do we want to do this? We taped an interview with Nick Wright yesterday, who just retweeted out a link to the show, so I appreciate that, Nick. And
that's awful nice. So,
and we got into some good Justin Fields stuff, some Packer stuff that actually I thought was interesting. Well, I didn't even seen this yet, but Nick was talking about. I want to go back and watch it because I think it's a great conversation. Apparently, he went off on the whole Jordan Love thing yesterday on his show. For the guys that don't know, Nick Wright, amazing host of the First Things First.
First Things First on FS1, and if you are looking for another podcast to listen to when you're not listening to all of our podcasts here at CHGO, the What's Right podcast is highly entertaining.
But here's why I really like having Nick on. I like talking to him, not because you guys have a personal relationship, which is obviously part of that, but in this day and age we live in with all this screaming debate television, those guys on that show do a really good job of actually bringing like actual information and research to the table. And I don't know that there's anybody out there that's better at like constructing his arguments and presenting them than Nick is.
So yeah, I ditto all of that, and so just my relationship with him, just to give full circle, I needed to get on the air more. I was at WGN, and I would get like 3 minutes of time every 6 months. So, so I took a job. The offer was, do you want to go produce the afternoon show in Kansas City? You'll be the update guy, and you'll get fill-in hosting opportunities. And at that point in time, that was the best thing that I had going. So I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So I moved down to KC. I get there. I don't know Nick Wright from anyone. And I walk in the first day, and it's this weird-looking dude who's standing up, then sitting down, then getting in a catcher's thing in his chair, and just fidgety as all hell. And I'm looking at him like, this is the guy who's 15 years younger than me that I'm gonna, have to work with every day. And then it took about 2 weeks, and I'm like, this dude is better than anyone I've heard on the radio, period. Like, he is supreme. And that was before he took off. And I'm like, and that's no disrespect to anyone else. I'm like, he's just that good. Super smart, super interesting, funny, and like just knows how to do it. So then we both ended up working in Houston together. I lived with him and his family.
Which you've told me some interesting
stories. Did you share a room like you did with Nick at the Super Bowl?
No. I had my own room.
Oh, nice.
But me and his 8-year-old did share a bathroom, and she, had a slight flushing issue that was unfortunate at the time.
She's 8.
Flushing.
I just don't get that one. Why do kids not do that, or even
my,
adults?
My nephew is the same way.
Adults, honestly.
Yeah, he just goes to the bathroom, doesn't close the door, leaves the thing up, doesn't flush, just walks right out, doesn't wash his hands.
Doesn't close the door.
Shout out
That's
Weston, I love you very much, but come on, man, let's get this thing together.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not a big process here. There's one thing you got to do, chop chop. But I think that is, she's grown up to be an amazing person who's like dominating the world now. So perhaps it wasn't. Didn't really matter as far as life success goes.
Everything's fine.
Any rate. But, and I see a lot of Nick wrong comments. Listen, yeah, I completely disagree and want to fight him on everything he says about LeBron James. But if there's one thing that you should respect about him, especially the people that watch this show, because y'all are diehards and you're very involved, he watches everything. He reads everything. He's a 24/7 dude. There's no lack of research being put into any take that he puts out there. Period. End of story.
Which I respect, because there's a lot of that going on right now with a lot of this debate TV where they're just like not naming names. There's a lot of dudes who get their information because they get huge sheets of information every single day because they get told what they're talking about.
They get told what they're talking about. They have all their research. They're not necessarily, and they're not watching games, and they're certainly not like this dude is just
kind of like you with the XFL.
Exactly. I can't wait
asking for more extra points.
What is there any recommendation of a game that I should watch this weekend to make this?
There's 4 games each week. It's not hard. They're all on.
I know, but is there like a good one?
All of them.
All of them are good.
I don't know.
Are we talking about the XFL now?
Who's
Well, I
AJ
said
McCarron
that
play
because
for?
I haven't watched
You
it.
do have to watch the
Battle
XFL
Stars?
this week.
Yeah.
Battle Hawks. Yeah.
Battlehawks, not Battle Stars. It's not team.
I don't know. I don't know the
Watch AJ
teams.
McCarron in the
I
Battle
had it on, and it was just I like the rules, and that's pretty much the only thing I like about it.
I'll figure it out after we play the Knicks.
By the way, I see people asking about Corey Wooten. Corey Wooten was.
We love Corey Wooten.
Corey's gone nowhere other than the season ended, and he was here to be on Mondays and some post-game shows, and the season ended. Corey's not going anywhere. Corey's actually going to be with us next week in Indianapolis. Spoiler alert.
Oh gosh.
So
is that happening? Next
week? Did I say weekend? Week. Whatever I said.
We're out of here next Monday.
We're going to hear from Corey next week. So there you go. That's all. We love him too. All right, let's get this interview with Nick.
The Battlehawks are playing the Seattle Sea Dragons tonight.
It's a good uniform.
8 o'clock.
There's a game tonight?
Tonight.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Thursday Night Football is back.
Yeah. Let's go.
See,
low-key might be a better game than some of the Thursday night games we got this year.
Low-key amazing that I was able to bring that to the forum here. None of you knew there was XFL tonight.
Do you have anything on your calendar tonight? Actually, you do. It's Thursday. I know exactly what you have on your calendar.
What do I have?
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm not going to bring it up.
Oh, I have that on my calendar too, but no, it's Cats Illinois tonight. 8 o'clock tip, baby.
So we cannot make you watch the XFL tonight.
We also have a super chat. I think we should hold off until after the Nick Wright interview.
Okay. We see your super chat. We'll get to that. We'll dive into this right now, and here it is, our conversation from yesterday with Nick Wright.
It is our pleasure at CHGO to bring in one of my best friends, a Super Bowl champion, 2 times now. It's true. And apparently Patrick Mahomes is, and Travis Kelce, and maybe the rest of the Chiefs' best friend. First things first, dominating too, and maybe, America's #1 media personality. What do you think, Adam Hoge? Did I oversell this at all on Nick?
I'm curious on if Nick actually gets a Super Bowl ring or not.
Well, I'm curious about that too, actually. I'm not certain, but I certainly earned it. When you have the fortitude to believe in plucky underdogs, such as the Kansas City Chiefs, who many people thought were the worst team in their own division. Many people thought, didn't have a top 5 quarterback in the entire NFL. Everyone thought was going to lose to the Cincinnati Bengals in Burrowhead, I should say. Everybody thought that, the Eagles pass rush, they're never going to be able to handle that. And then you're the one person standing, atop the mountain of criticism, deflecting it so it doesn't reach the players. Yeah, I probably deserve some type of jewelry. Yeah, so we'll see, maybe.
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, this is just super interesting because, I just sat in the car driving in the miserable rain we have here in Chicago, getting home, listening to all of we have a mutual friend named Danny Parkins. You guys obviously are closer to him than I am, but I still call him a friend. And he was just blasting Tim Anderson on the White Sox for about 45 minutes for trying to claim that a media member could be contributing to the team's losing ways. But I don't know. It sounds like Nick here is taking credit for the Chiefs winning ways. So maybe there's something to be said for this. I don't know.
Well, I think there is, in all seriousness, I think a very real thing in sports is being able to play the nobody believes in us. I think that actually helps professional athletes. I think that it sharpens motivation, and I think it sharpens focus. And I do think that it helped the Chiefs, that the Bengals had the audacity to call it Burrowhead Stadium. I think it is noteworthy that moments after reaching the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is invoking that the Cincinnati mayor said Joe Burrow was Patrick Mahomes' father. I do think sometimes, I think we all agree that sometimes what bites teams is they get too arrogant, they get ahead of themselves, they believe the headlines. If we believe that can be a negative, then of course, being able to rally around no one believes in us can be a positive. And if somehow, despite being the dominant team of your era with the best coach in the world and the best quarterback ever, you can still channel nobody believes in us. Like, you guys remember the Patriots in their last Super Bowl that they won, Edelman grabbing Brady and saying, "You're too old." I do think that helps great athletes if they can credibly sell it to themselves. And I think the Chiefs had that going for them.
Well, I can also tell you that it helps, elite radio personnel / YouTube podcast. Because when people have told me that I couldn't do things, I mean, look, it motivated me right to this point. What do you think about that?
Look at you now. That's 100% correct.
Yeah. I would also submit that, let me just bring this back to the Bears, because what you just said, best coach, best quarterback. I was trying to argue or just point out to Bears fans that the Chiefs were not a good organization. They were, in fact, a bad organization. And then they got lucky, and skillfully too. I mean, they drafted Patrick Mahomes, but Mitch Trubisky was taken ahead of him. Deshaun Watson could have gone that way, didn't. Okay, give him credit, but everything changed once they got the quarterback. It made the whole organization.
I would disagree a tiny bit.
Okay,
it made them a championship organization getting the quarterback. The organization changed when they got Andy Reid.
So right, and
they were a clown show organization until they hired Reid. And then they became a perennial playoff team, but they had a clear ceiling because they didn't have the quarterback. But Reid was the first step, and then Mahomes was the most important step.
Right, and so that's right. And I was long-winded there, but I was pointing out like it actually changed when Andy came, as you're saying. Would you call that a lucky hire? Would you call it they knew what they were doing? I'm trying to figure, because right now with the Bears, we don't know if Ryan Poles actually knows what he's doing. We haven't figured out if Matt Eberflus is a good head coach. We're still trying to figure out the Justin Fields narrative, if given the weapons, if he's going to get there. So I'm trying to draw some level of parallel and optimism with the Chiefs, which maybe I shouldn't be doing.
Well, listen, I don't know that you can call Andy Reid a lucky hire, but Andy Reid was fired in Philadelphia. They were done with him. And, I think a lot of people thought that for as good as a designer of offensive plays as Andy Reid was, nobody thought he was a Hall of Fame coach before he did this in Kansas City. No, and now, I mean, Andy Reid by October of next year will be number 4 on the all-time NFL wins list. 4. It'll be Hallis, Shula, Belichick, Reid. He's right now number 5. He's 3 behind Landry. He already is number 2 on the all-time playoff wins list. And now it does, I think he is 11 and don't quote me on this, but I think he's 11 and 13 without Mahomes and 11 and 3 with Mahomes, which kind of, speaks to the unbelievable run that he's had with Mahomes. But Andy made 5 conference championship games and 1 Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes ever played it down in the NFL. Now he's made 5 more conference championship games and 3 more Super Bowls with Mahomes. I don't know if listen, I don't think Matt Eberflus is going to be Andy Reid, and Justin Fields obviously isn't Patrick Mahomes. But I think it's dangerous for teams to try to be the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are trying to be the best team ever. Like, that's now and I'm not trying to be arrogant here. Mahomes has more quickly than any athlete I've ever seen ascended past any contemporary comps. So like Jordan, let's use your guy, Jordan. Jordan first, he had to ascend past Bird and Isaiah and Magic. And then basically championship number 2 or 3 pre-first retirement, he was now just competing with ghosts, with legends, with Wilt and Russell and Kareem. LeBron, it was LeBron versus Kobe. Then it was LeBron versus Durant. Then it was LeBron versus Steph. And then it became 15 years in, LeBron versus Jordan, right? That's the only conversation left. Mahomes is 5 years in, and it's just him versus Brady. It took 5 years for him to dispatch all of that. So nobody is going to be able to hold up to that standard. The question that I would have if I'm the Bears is, can we do within the NFC North what the Chiefs are trying to do within the entirety of NFL history, right? Can we have the preeminent coach-quarterback combo in our division? Because if you do, you're going to be in the tournament every single year. And when you look at the division and you say, okay, Goff and Dan the Man Campbell, we should be better than that combo, right? If we have the right coach and the right quarterback. LaFleur and Jordan Love, we should be better than that combo. And Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins, we should be better than that combo. And that's where, to me, the Bears question has to be. I'm not a big fan of hiring defensive head coaches. I think it puts your quarterback in a rough spot. But that to me is the standard it's got to be for Chicago or for any team really other than Kansas City.
Nick, the last time we talked to, I think was mid-November or something. It was on the heels of when right after the Bears went on that offensive run where they lost every game, but they actually led the league in scoring for 4 straight weeks, which I'm not sure. I have to remind everybody, on a daily basis that actually happened, because it really did. You were very high on Justin Fields, it sounded like, at that point.
I like him.
It seemed like a lot of people were. Then, he gets a little banged up. He has a terrible game against the Lions that ends up kind of leaving a sour taste in everyone's mouth right at the end of the year. But it was just one game. And then they get the number 1 pick. And all of a sudden, it's like every day it seems like the storyline is, should the Bears trade Justin Fields and just draft Bryce Young instead? Where do you come down on that topic?
I don't believe in small quarterbacks.
Me neither.
Flatly. I think there are certain things that are just it. Listen, if Caleb Williams was in this draft, I would trade Justin Fields in a heartbeat. I like Justin a lot. I think Caleb is going to be a superstar. I think the kid from Florida actually might end up being the best quarterback in this draft. You obviously aren't going to draft him at number 1 and trade Justin Fields. You're not going to do that. But I like the size profile. I like the upside. But tiny quarterbacks terrify me. And Bryce Young is tiny. He's not small. He's tiny. Mahomes, compared to previous era quarterbacks, is on the smaller side. But he's 6'2", and he's thick. You know what I mean? He's absolutely big enough. Everybody loved Kyler's film coming out of college. They didn't necessarily love some of the personality stuff. They loved the film. And my take was, smallest ever, don't want it. My feeling in this year's NBA draft was Chet Holmgren is the skinniest player I've ever seen. I don't prove me wrong. If you're going to be in the 1th percentile of height or weight, I'm going to not be in the business. Now, Devontae Smith was that for wide receivers. he's been good. But every time he gets tackled, it looks like the guy who's going to tear all his ligaments. And so far, he's been fine, so maybe prove me wrong. But that's not the quarterback. Now, I have been one that has said the Ravens should call the Bears about Justin for Lamar because the Ravens don't want to pay Lamar and they have an offense built around a mobile quarterback. And I think for Chicago, that is at least a discussion you've got to have. But if you don't want to do that, this is not a unique opinion to me. You just hold an auction for the number one pick and you trade it. And you roll with Justin and you spend some money and you get as many quality players as you can. Like if it were a draft where I am sold on the quarterback, then you have to consider trading Justin Fields. But I'm not sold on either of these top two quarterbacks.
What do you think happens with Aaron?
He has to play somewhere else. He has to. On the TV show today, I got into a surprisingly loud argument with everyone else about that and I didn't expect it to go this way at all. And our show doesn't do a lot of like yelling and arguing, but I was pounding the table, yelling that because there was a report that if they bring back Aaron, Jordan Love's going to ask for a trade. And my colleagues basically were against that. And I was beside myself. I couldn't believe that they would be against it. If they run it back with Aaron one more time, they owe it to Jordan Love to trade him. No, that in the 100 and some year history of the NFL, we have never had a first round quarterback go 4 years without having an opportunity to start, without getting a chance. And you can't steal that from the kid. Aaron waited 3 years and then played the entirety of year 4. I think I think Aaron's a pain in the ass. I think he is not a great player anymore. Once upon a time, he was the most talented quarterback in the league. He's not that anymore. And just look at the trajectory of the last 3 years. You make the NFC Championship game. Aaron doesn't play great in that game, doesn't make the play at the end of the game he needs to make. They lose. The next year, you host the divisional round as the 1 seed. The other team scores 0 offensive touchdowns, and you lose. This year, you are hosting the Detroit Lions in Week 18 to go to the playoffs, and you lose. And he's 39 years old, and let's say, to be kind, eccentric. Like that, you can't, and he's going to make $50 million. I don't know why you'd trade for him. Like people are talking about the Jets trading for him, and the Jets hired Nat Hackett for the same reason the Broncos hired Nat Hackett seemingly as Aaron Rodgers bait. But I'd rather have Derek Carr. Derek Carr's cheaper, lower maintenance, and over the next 2 years might be as good as Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron's only got 2 years left. So I don't know. I think the Packers made a huge mistake when they were 4-8, not playing Jordan Love, not admitting our season is over. Let's give this guy a month to see what he's got. They didn't do it. So be it. It was a mistake. I said at the time. But now they're in a weird spot because they don't really know if Jordan Love can play, but they've got to play him. They've got to play.
Nick, I have extremely strong thoughts on how badly the Packers have messed this up over the last 3 years. I think they should have traded him on that draft day, the day the Bears drafted Justin Fields, when all that stuff came out on draft day that said, hey, the Broncos might trade for Aaron Rodgers today. And I don't know. I even know if we know how true that was or not, but I would have traded him then because I thought the writing was on the wall. You can't keep Devontae Adams. You can't keep them both. And I didn't think that they were good enough to win a Super Bowl at that point.
Clearly weren't.
They got kind of close. They were in the NFC Championship game again, but then they got, they played the 49ers and lost again. And then I thought last year.
Hold on. They weren't in that wasn't the NFC Championship.
Oh, you're right. That was the divisional round
game. So their divisional round. They lose 13-10. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive. On their second drive, Mercedes Lewis fumbles, and Rodgers shuts down. And Rodgers something was one thing went wrong, and he shut down.
Oh, you're right. And that's been a pattern that was already existed then. And then I thought it was insane to give him an extension last year. Just absolutely insane, even if his trade value had gone down. And now it's like, what do you even get for the guy? And his contract's crazy. And I totally agree with what you just said. They should have played Jordan Love. And they just are like totally handcuffed by this guy.
The idea they were 4-8 and everyone's like, they're mathematically alive. Mathematically alive for what? Your city is called Titletown. Like, alive to what? Be the 7 seed and get dog walked by the Niners in round 1? Congrats. And then they won those 4 games in a row, and it looked like they were going to make the playoffs. All these Packer fans are like, you still think we should have played Jordan Love? I'm like, yes, I do. And also, they're like, oh, you want us to give up on the season? It's like, no. Playing the guy who eventually is going to be your quarterback, who you drafted in the first round, playing him is not giving up on the season. It is not benching Carr for Stidham. It is saying we're not winning a championship this year either way. Let's get as much information as we can. I think they butchered it entirely.
Nick, Wright, first things first, if you're not watching the show, you're not living your life the right way. Let's wrap up with this. You're a master strategist. You see angles better than like literally anyone I've ever talked to in my life. If you're Ryan Poles, you're a second-year general manager, you're 37 years old, you're the GM of the Bears, you made your way up through the Chiefs, you got the number 1 pick, you get all the salary cap money. How do you secure yourself as a longtime employee doing what you love and try to make your football team win, look good in the process here? Because you could play it super safe, and you can't fire me for this, or you could try to be the genius. I just think there's a lot of calculus on how he's going to go about this.
So I think the first team I would call about the number 1 pick is the Texans. I think they would be the first team. And I would say, listen, we are trading this pick. We don't know who we're trading it to. And because we don't know, you guys will have no idea, no matter what your intel is on who likes what quarterback, who is going to be taken at 1. And your guys' whole draft board is going to be askew because you're either going to get your guy's going to be there at 2, but you will have no idea. So what is your best offer from 1 to 2? And see if you can get a real return. Like, can you get the number 2 pick plus their second rounder and something else pretty awesome? Like, next year's second. You can't get next year's first, I don't think. But you add, and keep in mind, this year's first round only has 31 picks because of the Dolphins tampering thing. So, so I would do that. And then the number 2 pick, I would call Indy and say, okay, like, if I would, that trade, I would probably hold till draft day. And I would find a team that loves Bryce, and I would find a team that loves CJ, and tell, whichever team's highest in the draft that loves each of them, and basically say, tell me what, we'll work out a deal that if your guy is here, we're going to make this deal on draft day, and then be ready to be trading down to 4 or trading down to 7 or whatever it is, and walk away from the draft with 1 blue chipper that you drafted this year, 2 additional firsts in the future, 2 or 3 additional seconds, and restock the team that way. That's what I would do.
That was my first dream scenario. You can confirm
think it's possible
that,
too. I think it's possible. You have said that. I do think this might be one of those years where we see the pick traded like a couple weeks before the draft. But hey, what the Bears got by getting the number 1 pick was just a bonus. We were all saying they're celebrating number 2 and saying that they could trade then. So here's the tax, Houston. You stupidly won that game for Lovie Smith. Congratulations. Now you got to pay us this for
100%. And if trading down to 4, and if ever all the draft experts basically say 2 quarterbacks are going to go super high, and then there's the 2 defensive players that different people have each, some services have depending on the Alabama kid and the Georgia kid as the number one player in the drafts, respectively. If you're sitting at 4, you're guaranteed to get one of those 2 defensive players. So I think trading it twice would be great if you could do it. It's a lot of, it's not easy to do those things, but I also, the Colts traded with the Jets 5 for 3 and got 3 future second-round picks, I think, to move down the 2 spots. I think that was the trade that ended up being Darnold, and then the Colts drafted Quentin Nelson. They got the best player, and they got the extra picks. I think that's what you can't do if you have the number 1 pick in a draft where there's quarterbacks is use the pick and not draft a quarterback. You can't get the value from it. So the Bears can't stay at 1 and draft Walker. You just can't do it.
Nick Wright, Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, that's right.
We love you, buddy. Congratulations.
You too. Appreciate it. Congrats. I appreciate the work you guys are doing. Big times for this whole company. The folks in Phoenix, they got Kevin Durant. Folks in Denver have, a 3-time MVP who is only 4.5 championships away from the average for the other 3-time MVPs. So he should get working on that. And you guys got the number 1 pick of the draft.
Hey, thank you so much for underlining the company. We won't even bring up that, you just straight blew us off at the Super Bowl because you were getting ready to buy a Louis Vuitton sweater for $2,600 and dance with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I mean, it's no big deal, but you did.
I actually bought the sweater when I was back in New York. I blew you off at the Super Bowl because there's a place in about 20 minutes outside of Phoenix called the Talking Stick Resort and Casino.
Yes.
And there was an unbelievable PLO game there that I won enough money to buy 5 of those damn sweaters. That's why I blew you off.
Yes.
Talk to you later, buddy.
I think it was a good move. Thanks, Nick.
I don't know if I believe it, but I don't know. The smile looked kind of maybe legit. Nick, you're the best.
100% true. Talk to you later. Bye.
It is 100% true.
Me and you cannot comment on PLO because only Lawrence apparently knows that that's Pot Limit Omaha.
Pot Limit Omaha. That is a game you need to have a big stack of chips in front of you.
Sounds like he did. Sounds like he left with a bigger stack.
That game could get wild.
Hang out with us on Radio Row, win thousands of dollars.
I mean, I was
Talking Stick.
He was there on Thursday and Friday of Radio Week, so I'm texting him like, "You coming by?" All day Thursday. Didn't hear from him till 10 o'clock at night whenever what we were doing on Thursday night. I'm over at the Potlick or whatever he just called it. You want to come by?
Potlick.
We were getting sushi.
Talking Stick.
We were getting sushi.
We were getting sushi Thursday night.
That's right.
3 of us, live look at us at the sushi place.
Oh, yeah. Mark, I think, fell asleep for a little bit.
bed? Hoge was over there. Hoge was in his own corner. I was in my corner on my phone. Nick, I don't know what you were doing.
I was awake.
That was when DNVR and Phoenix they were all awake and having a good time. We had already had pizza.
Yeah,
we had really good pizza. Yeah,
we had already eaten, and
But
here's what I love: you got a text from
Pizzeria Bianco. Did you wait 4 hours for pizza?
No, actually,
I forgot what it's called.
I think we secretly won the Super Bowl, the media Super Bowl, because I read all those stories about there's a 4-hour wait and Paul McCartney was at Pizzeria Bianco. I'm going to be honest, I can't remember the name of the place we went to, but it was freaking good.
Delicious.
And
where was it?
And it had the Northwestern game on for Carm.
Oh, that's where he was yelling. And
that was huge.
Oh, yeah. He was making me very uncomfortable with his screaming, but the pizza was good.
It was a great meal.
What part of town was that in? Do you know, by any chance?
We tried riding scooters.
That was also the scooter night.
It was within 4 blocks of the convention center downtown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was scooter night, and since you just brought me up, I just want to remind everybody that there's a great new song that I came up with today that's coming up later on the show.
Yeah, we're going to have that after this break. I just wanted to point out, though, that you were half asleep at the sushi place. You get a text from Nick Wright that says, "I'm at Talking Stick. Do you want to come?" We actually weren't that far away. We were in Scottsdale at the time.
No, I looked at it. It was like so close, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't.
You asked me. You're like, you want to go? And I go, there's a 0% chance that's happening. And at that point, I was the one that had the car keys.
That's true.
Yeah,
which was the most powerful I felt all week, which is great.
I could have Ubered it, seen my buddy, lost money. No, not doing it.
You guys learned that week that when I'm on the road, I like to have control over things. And when I don't, I get a little squirmy.
It was a great week. I can't wait to see what develops in Indianapolis.
Part 2. Let's go. I can't wait.
It's gonna be fun.
All right. Well, between now and then and tonight and even next week, the great thing about DraftKings is you can always be on there checking out what's happening. We're looking at the XFL line for Carm tonight. The Seattle Sea Dragons are 4.5 or 4-point favorite?
4-point
favorite over the St. Louis Battlehawks. Chicago's
Please
XFL
don't ever say that
team.
again. Come on. Let's not. No. Let's not even dive into that garbage.
Hey, Chicago.
Trash pizza. Not a great city.
What, we don't have billboards on 294 that say Chicago's XFL team?
Ugh.
I think we should. But look, DraftKings has NBA's no sweat same game parlays. MLB bets are coming up. You were just looking at handball?
No, I just said it's on there. It is an option.
You could bet handball.
I bet the Champions League the last 2 days.
Nice.
3 of 4 games I was on the correct side of things. That's good. It's profitable.
That's a win. You can download the app now. Sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. I can't remember if we did our play of the week earlier this week, so we'll do another one. But give me the Sea Dragons tonight. I'm all in. The Battlehawks, they basically had to have a comeback of epic proportions in that game against the team I can't remember the other day.
Yeah, but now they're battle tested. Huh?
Heinz Ward. Oh, the Brahmas.
San
What is the
Antonio?
Brahma?
Well, the Brahma Bull is the Rock. That's his nickname.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's why
true.
I think they have the coolest logo and the coolest
Is it his tattoo?
colors.
I think
But
it is.
Heinz Ward was standing there looking very confused as his team gave up the
What's going
the
on?
lead.
How are you doing this?
with
Also,
the
he's probably confused. He's a head coach of a football team.
right.
True. Very true.
Are there rosters for these teams?
I just actually pulled up the roster for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
There's actually a number of ex-Bears and like training camp heroes in the XFL.
Oh, I mean, that's a team Bears fans need to, root for. I'm trying to see if there are any on the St. Louis Battlehawks. None of these names look familiar, but you can look up the XFL, but you should be doing it in some of your FOCO gear while you're kind of scrolling
There you
through
go.
what XFL team, what prop bets you want to, bet on. But Chicago, you already know you've got the best coverage for your favorite team, so get fitted out in the best sports gear around. FOCO's got you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. You can get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles, FOCO. And if you're looking for the perfect gift for just a sports fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
Looking at some of these rosters just makes me realize how big of a football problem I have.
Because you know everyone?
Not everyone, like not even probably 10%, but just the fact that I know like a Steven Montez, former Colorado quarterback.
Yep.
South Carolina first, right?
I don't know
Montez
that
transfer?
part. I don't know if he transferred. Remember Ben DiNucci from James Madison?
No.
Yeah.
How good are you over there, Lawrence? If I told you
Wait, hold
Brian Hill, can you pull that one?
Brian Hill?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, hold on. What position does he play?
He's a running back.
Running back
I'm
Brian Hill.
way off the board. Like if you had pulled this, it'd be amazing.
Josh Seltzner, former
West
Wisconsin
Coast school.
old lineman.
West
running back.
Was he at Wyoming?
Bang.
Wow.
Bang.
That's
Pulled
right.
off of Wyoming.
I'm gonna
Years of-
pull
What's
one
up,
I'm gonna
Cody?
pull one on Carm right here.
Wait, Brian Hill, isn't he a kid from Illinois, or is that another former Wyoming running back?
That would make sense as to why he's a battle hawk.
Carm.
Yes.
Jared Thomas,
Jared Thomas. Nope.
oh boy,
I know.
Northwestern
Ooh, I would have guessed it just because.
Played what position?
offensive line.
That's why.
Oh, what a shot at the
Yeah.
old lineman.
Brian
They
Hill,
don't
he's from
matter.
East St.
Jared
Louis.
Thomas, was he a good offensive lineman? Obviously, it did something.
I don't know.
Where's Dave Bennett? What?
Brian Hill is from East St. Louis.
There we go.
He's
Went
on
to
the
Belleville
He's
West.
in Champaign, Illinois.
yeah.
Which
All right.
we'll get to that in a
What
little
is
bit.
this video? You're I actually did not even take the time to watch this.
Yeah,
this
that
morning.
made you made the right choice.
So
I'm excited to see it though.
So this is what was going on in my head today as I was getting ready for the show. And
we should have a new segment called Inside Carm's Head.
Oh,
well,
love it.
the pushback on the Justin Fields, Bryce Young conversation was kind of bothering me. That like there's no insult whatsoever to Justin, and I call him a Mercedes-Benz on this show. So and. Would you trade him if you could get a Rolls Royce, assuming Bryce Young is a Rolls Royce, and he's not a Rolls Royce by most people's account, and my own too, because the dude is literally my size, and that's just a scary proposition. Although when you watch his take, it's amazing. The guy's supremely talented. But so then I just started singing, like a Hallelujah Justin Fields song to myself.
Is that what you're gonna call this?
Yeah, Hallelujah Justin Fields, and then the dog started going nuts to the song. So then I sat down with her and sang it directly to Poppy the puppy, because I think it's very catchy, and clearly the dog likes it. So I think we should make this a thing. We should sing this all together after we all listen to it. My song to Poppy the puppy. Should we play that now?
Here we go.
Here we go.
I got a new song. You ready? 3, 2, 1. It's for Justin Fields. QB1, my QB1, hallelujah. QB1, my QB1, hallelujah. Yes, sing it for Justin. QB1, my QB1, hallelujah. QB1, my QB1, hallelujah. Keep Justin Fields.
She doesn't bark ever.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a couple angles here. One is she's very excited about Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another one is I'm picturing the scene in The Last of Us when the dog starts barking at the infected dog owner and knows something's wrong. I think that's a possibility here, that she's just really worried about you.
I think there is legit concern, and I'm enjoying the chat right now. The dog is saying, Caleb Williams, just listen. That's a funny one, Rockstar 80.
Mom says dog's telling Carm to shut the hell up. Also possibility.
Sweet Jesus for Braggs.
What was that one? Oh,
from
sweet
Braggs.
Jesus. Yeah.
Don't you think that's a great tune, though? QB1, my QB1. No?
I'll say this. I hate everything about it. However, after I was forced to make that clip, I had it stuck in my head for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Hallelujah. I mean, that was just a snippet of the 10 minutes that we did this.
What about
around the whole house?
What about?
God, you cut it at 20 seconds or whatever that was.
Oh, here we go. The Duke is chiming in. Thank you, Duke.
The Duke, 1999. Poppy the puppy saying, "Stop! My ears are sensitive."
I mean, literally, the dog never barks. And I was in the kitchen singing. I was in the kitchen singing to myself and just started going off. And I'm like, okay,
Torian, this is good for
this
Torian.
is the thing. Dog was barking, basically wanted to replace with Cooper Rush, Zappy, and Birdie. Torian, you are a long time with that. It's true. I forgot about my Bailey's or whatever I said about Bailey Zappy, but whatever I did say, I apologize.
You had a roller coaster ride with random, probably backup quarterbacks throughout the season.
Cooper Rush was hot for a minute.
You were big on Cooper Rush. Now, the one thing I will defend you on Cooper Rush, it was at least that was during the stretch where Justin Fields actually looked like it.
He was terrible.
It was bad. Then I think Justin Fields saved you from Cooper Rush more than anything by playing better.
This is true. And I'm so happy that QB1 is QB1 as evidenced by that song.
All right, we got a lot to get to here. So
if you like to hit me up on, personally on Twitter, I will, direct message you the video so you can just have it and you can play it in your house.
It should be on Spotify.
I was
going to
say it's not going to Spotify.
Maybe
Spotify,
Spotify. That's
Apple.
a good point. That's a good point. You don't need to do that. It'll
by
be
the
on
way,
Spotify.
if you're listening to the pod on Spotify, please rate and review.
Please write a review.
5-star review, because as we all know, a 4-star review is basically a 1-star review. 5 stars only.
5 stars here.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's a weird
Same
algorithm
thing with Uber.
Yeah, it's an algorithm situation.
I basically only give Uber drivers 5-star reviews because I realize they're trying to make a living. And I almost made one exception. We even talked about this on the show. It has to do with the Super Bowl. I actually like a ruling from our listeners on this. Nick and I were in an Uber to the airport, and this dude was just bashing Chicago to the point that I'm usually fall under the, like, I don't want conflict. I'm just going to let this guy say what he has to say, get out of the car and move on with my day. But I was about ready to push back. And my thought was like, if I was an Uber driver and I'm going to ask the people in my car where they're from, I don't think it's a great strategy for me as I'm trying to get a tip to bash wherever they're from. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, this dude was just like, Chicago's the worst place ever. My mom used to live there. She said that I was going to just get killed if I lived there. So, like,
well, that's just stupid.
Well, that's what and I'm like, and I was making subtle responses like, yeah, well, it's like, it's not the whole city.
So, did you give him a, like, 0-star review?
No, because I'm just...
That's definitely...
Should I have, I guess, is my question.
100%.
If you went down the dangerous road, I would have thrown down on him. Dude, have you seen the country? Don't bark up the Chicago tree, and you just told on yourself.
Well, yes, and I did push back a little bit because at one point I was like, it's not the whole city. It's not much different than pretty much everywhere else.
Every other city's going to have certain parts in it.
Like it's the reputation, and I didn't want to be like, it sounds like your mom's contributing to that, but like, anyway, should I have given him? I still went 5 stars and gave him a tip.
That was a mistake.
I just wouldn't have.
Dude's trying to make a living.
Not a very good job of doing it.
That's a bad job.
Well, that's true.
Adam, I actually thought you were talking about our first Uber driver, Brandon Spano.
Oh yeah,
that's who I thought. I'm like, oh man, that rating.
Oh, that was straight 0 stars, but.
I like that ride.
The Bears 85, $5
Which part where we almost died was your favorite?
I like some volatility in a ride. Yes.
Can you field the love tonight?
Can you feel the love? I'll work on it. I'll work on it. The Bears 85
for next year. Okay.
Can you feel the love?
Okay. And from B.
By the way, that Uber driver was also super stoned out of his mind.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Thank you, B. Demps. Love the show.
No doubt about it.
Love the show. Thanks,
Appreciate you, B. Demps.
Do we want to get to this question yet? Or are we still doing? What do we got? We got a lot of stuff to do.
We got a lot of stuff. You can bring that up.
All right, here we go. This is from After Hours Luke, $4.99. What do we think about trading from 1 to 9, getting a haul, then trading 9 to Cincinnati for T. Higgins plus a day 2 pick?
So here's the thing about this. So T. Higgins is your first round pick, essentially.
Yep.
Like, I love this idea of getting all these picks, and T. Higgins sounds great. I actually like T. Higgins a lot. I think it'd be a great fit. But, like, I don't know. At some point, don't you actually have to pick somebody in the first round?
You have 8 draft picks going into this draft. At some point, Ryan Poles is going to have to go to the podium and, make a selection at some point. But T. Higgins would no doubt help Justin Fields.
It's the biggest home run he can hit. Trade far back, get tons of picks, and then get the pick right. At that point, we'll all be bowing down to Ryan Poles if he can do it. But I am slightly focused on After Hours Luke's avatar because that picture is intense.
I mean, it's a bit Terminator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So it's Arnold. Okay.
Come on. Come.
Oh, no.
I mean, this dude's coming to play. I wouldn't mess with After Hours Luke.
No. Serious.
But I like the concept, but it scares me. Can you do this? But when you go back in time to Bears GMs, let's all remember for a minute, Ryan Pace's first draft pick was?
Kevin White.
Right.
Ugh.
So, exactly. You were
The
trying
second was Leonard Floyd.
Leonard,
His second first round pick.
Right. And so, but the first one, I just think it's a good lesson. You picked a guy that you fell in love with who didn't do a whole lot, who flashed, and you were a little bit going genius in the room. Versus, why not just make a very solid play? You don't have to stamp yourself as draft genius the first time going through this. Just make a logical. This dude has got a high floor, and I'm not sure what ceiling he can hit, but I know he's going to help us. I would not mind any of that.
Brandon chiming in here, $5. You guys are awesome. Appreciate all you do.
Thanks,
Can we
Brandon.
please get the Pitt defensive tackle and
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed.
From Michigan State.
State.
Loves Justin
I love
Fields.
Jaden Reed. The Pitt D tackle, like the Pitt Panthers.
I assume.
Aaron Donald.
I mean, that's
Aaron Donald.
That's a good guy.
I'd take Aaron Donald.
Who's your Pitt DT in the draft?
I'm not
Or is
sure.
he talking about
Yeah.
free agency? I don't know.
Blanking on names here.
Well, here's the amazing
We're
thing.
letting you down, Brandon.
No, we're not, because here's the amazing thing is we have this awesome database that we've created for our diehards. Well, really, recreated it for us, but we're
Clancy. He says Clancy.
Okay.
Clancy.
Pittsburgh.
Clancy?
I'm putting him on my Brandon. Come back Monday. I will do a deep dive on him this weekend.
3 different ways of spelling it, though.
Yeah, a lot of people saying it. The Duke. 999. You should have told the Uber driver, your mom makes me feel dangerous. Yeah.
Well, we still need to get to our destination, so we couldn't say anything.
No, but that's why you just say not 5 stars.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
You
the
are,
easy way.
I guess I'm too nice.
Bad person.
Yeah. All right, I'll go back in here and change it. Can you still do that?
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
I don't know if there's time for that.
No.
All right. ESPN has a tiered list of free agent running backs. So they took the 16 top free agent running backs that are available. This was Mike Clay, who does a really good job with their fantasy football coverage as well. And he has in tier 1 Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. Sounds about right. I don't think we have any arguments there. Perhaps you could make Saquon Barkley his own tier and then put Josh Jacobs in the second tier if you wanted, but I think this makes sense. The top in tier 2, although, and these do not appear to be in alphabetical order, so this seems like the top guy he has in tier 2 is...
Drumroll? Drumroll? Who is it,
I'm focused on collegiate Kelce. That's where I'm still stuck on collegiate Kelce, and I love the chat that like there's 17 answers on who that was. So no, I don't have a guess on tier 2.
David Montgomery.
There it is.
Chicago Bears running back David Montgomery is the top. Now, I'm little surprised higher than Tony Pollard, although in the same tier. So tier 2 is Montgomery, Miles Sanders, and Tony Pollard. But I like this, man. Montgomery deserves his props. I'm glad he's getting a little bit of respect here. Now, it might actually be bad because if it top tier 2, he might actually get paid.
Yeah, that's my reaction. Like, easy. It's
not top tier.
That means if you're putting him there, it makes me more skeptical that he's coming back. Because the Bears, I don't think, are going to pay for him or overpay for him. Is how they would what they would say. And
here are just some stats that kind of validate why tier 2 is actually probably a good slot for David Montgomery. He has 185 missed tackles forced in the past 4 seasons. That's the 5th most in the NFL, you guys. And other than Josh Jacobs, who's in tier 1, he's the only free agent running back with more touches than Montgomery's 1,070 since he was drafted in 2019. It's a guy that does a lot for the Bears, and he hasn't had a good offensive line. And if Ryan Poles is looking to actually build this up for Fields, it's going to benefit Montgomery. And if you can make something work out, I'm all for David Montgomery being here in 2023. The money's right. I'm all for it.
The other thing that Clay points out in this is that he doesn't fumble. He's fumbled. He's durable. He's played in 60 of 66 games. He's fumbled only 6 times in his entire career.
You know exactly what you're going to get with David Montgomery.
Yep.
It's solid all around.
And if you
somebody in the chat is saying that Darrington Evans is better. I don't know who that is, but that person should be. I don't know if we might have to block
Darrington
him.
Evans. I don't think.
Oh, it's Braggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Braggs' David Montgomery take is by far his worst.
I don't agree
it's
with
not
it.
even close.
I thought his worst was something to do with like Purdue and that whole thing.
You know what?
It's really embarrassing.
I have chosen to just let Braggs enjoy his second round loss in advance. Yeah. And, it'll be fine.
Are you going to go to the Big Ten tournament, by the way? I think the show should go.
I'd love it. Well, you're Mr. Ticket Guy, and here's a good segue to the read you're supposed to do about 10 minutes ago.
All right.
But tickets would be a good place to find on.
That would be Game Time tickets, Adam. And yes, you can get your Big Ten tournament
So
seats.
maybe to answer your question, I think if I jump on Game Time and I find the right deal, I could see myself inside of a UC.
When does this take place?
It's coming up
March 8th?
March
12th?
It starts on Wednesday the 8th, yes. It goes all the way through the weekend. If you wanted to, just for the record, if you wanted to have a ticket to get in the building for the entire weekend of games, right now, that would cost you $511, which is
more than face
Wednesday,
value.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 5 days. So you're paying $100 a day, roughly.
Wednesday's usually the Northwestern day, but apparently not this year.
We love playing in that 16, 13, 14, 15 game. That's a hot game.
I mean, I believe there's only 14 teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but they would put Northwestern in the 16.
Yeah, I don't know how I got to 16. Whatever.
They're about to be 16.
No, I said there's
14 teams in the Big Ten. There's going to be 16.
Oh, so it's right. I'm sorry. 14-11, 13-12 game. The 14-11. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
14-11, 13-12. Let's go Nebraska. Let's go Northwestern. Let's go Minnesota. Let's go Penn State. Let's battle it out. But that's not the case this year, baby. Number 2 seed. But more importantly, 15 million people have downloaded the Game Time Ticket app. You get the best seats and or get in the building for the best prices on the Game Time Tickets. Big Ten tournament, concerts, shows, whatever you need, Game Time Tickets have it. There is no better price in the secondary market than Game Time Tickets, even when you add in the fees. So, yes, Game Time Tickets is exactly where you should be going. Baseball, football, hockey, and or to see, Nicholas Moreano do stand-up / or, I don't know, one of his workouts you should actually sell tickets for that too. Game Time Tickets.
Sure. Let's do it.
That's weird.
Do it.
That was a weird way to end that read.
Very weird.
Yeah, it was.
I'm watching you work out.
If Moreano had a show that you could pay for, you could get it on Game Time Tickets. Just download the app. It makes your life so much better. I love it.
One thing I'm wondering, I think Nick's wondering if people are going to watch, is the upcoming quarterback documentary on Netflix. Netflix has been killing this documentary series genre within the sports world.
Talked about the golf one earlier, but they're profiling. It's Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. I think we know the one that's the most interesting of the bunch, but
Kirk Cousins.
Yes, Kirk Cousins, family life. They're mic'd up every single game, and you get to hear them interact with their families afterwards, so you get to see that behind-the-scenes look. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm always, anytime you have the behind-the-scenes kind of look for anything football-related, I'll be watching, tuning in. It's also like my girlfriend likes watching those things, too, so I'm like, all right.
That's what I wanted to bring up here because, like, it gives you – I assume this is going to be similar to what literally just came out. I think it came out last week, but just watching it the last couple of days. This golf documentary series. They killed it with the F1. I mean, that's what started all this. The F1 documentary, it's like F1 was already popular and obviously made money, but more internationally. But, like, it's created this whole secondary rush of fans because you're getting to learn more about the drivers, their families, all this stuff behind the scenes, and people start watching this on Netflix, and they're like, oh, this is super cool. Now I'm an F1 fan. Now there's all these podcasts, and the Athletics hiring F1 writers and all this stuff. Like, and it's actually generating subscriptions to their, it's like business-wise, it's been very, very interesting. I think this golf series is going to have a similar effect, honestly, with, like, the casual person that doesn't watch a lot of golf.
Yeah.
My wife was watching. We watched 3 episodes last night, and she loved it.
I'm going to have to tune in. I have, like, the interest in golf.
How long are they? Are they 30 or an hour?
They're closer to an hour. Yeah, but I want to say they're more like 40, 50 minutes.
Did you hear Lawrence judging your TV watching?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't know if I could do 3 in an hour.
I watched one with my son, which is another small little thing. Netflix, I love all this stuff, and this goes actually. Can we remember when they had The Last Dance came out, and they had I think I brought this up before on ESPN2. They had a censored version where they bleeped out all the swear words.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, but it was
That's nice.
James loved, and at that point, I think he was only 5 or 6 when that came out, and he loved watching it. But, like, there were a lot of F words on that show, and I mean, a couple here and there I'm okay with, which is more like this golf series. There's a few, but like,
I'm playing Taylor Swift for my daughter, and boy, Tay-Tay, she's a bit mouthy these days. With
Is
her,
she?
Wow, Taylor Swift.
Very.
Well, can't we get the secondary feed or? No, I'm asking too much. There's a lot of good documentary series out there. Kids can watch it too. Anyway, my son really loves golf, so he was watching this, and the words out of my wife's mouth, I can't believe these came out. She actually said this. I want to play golf. She said that.
Wow.
So anyway, I don't know that the NFL necessarily needs more fans. They're certainly going to try. This sounds interesting to me. I'll definitely watch it.
For sure.
I wish Nathan Peterman was in it, but
Oh, yeah, that would make it really interesting.
It feels like a weird balance.
All
That
right,
whole
let's
thing.
end the show with the Duke.
Oh, the Duke is just.
$49.99 from the Duke.
We love you, Duke. You know this.
Okay, football take. Poles isn't upgrading wide receiver. He's going to see if Claypool can become the wide receiver number 1. He's built like. He will throw most of his money at the lines. Why not go get an elite outside zone running back for your outside zone system? I don't know if I agree.
I find adding, just considering all the options this year and or lack thereof at wide receiver, I find it very interesting to see if the Bears will get creative with the playmakers they bring in, be it literally any of the running backs, top of the food chain. Give me some Saquon. I'd love it.
I disagree. I think there's going to be more wide receiver help coming.
Yeah, I think it's risky to just go in with the group that you have and put everything in on Chase Claypool. So see what happens, though, the Duke.
You have any love on Robert Woods?
Big fan of Robert Woods. I think he once helped me win a fantasy championship.
Just got cut. He's out there.
I think
It's over.
I mean, the Rams were willing to let him go and then sign Allen Robinson, who was basically
that didn't work out.
Yeah, then the
Taylor
Titans got rid of him right away.
Taylor Lewan, did that do anything for you? We got to go, I know.
I'd rather have younger guys with upside. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a couple here and there, like a Riley Reif signing last year. I mean,
good move
there
for the
is
Bears.
value for some of that, but not for big money. So, yep. All right, we're out of here. Nick and Will will be back tomorrow with the Chicago Audible Friday edition of the show. Looking forward to that. Otherwise, we are headed – we'll be back here Monday in studio, but then we are headed to Indianapolis for the Combine. So we'll have a Combine preview episode next week. All types of coverage at allchgo.com. Anything else I'm forgetting?
I'm spending my weekend watching draft tape of everybody, so if there's any names out there that you're interested, in my opinion, in, hit me up at the Carman. I will watch them.
And the XFL.
And the XFL.
Don't
Jesus.
forget that.
All right, Carm, sing us out. Ready?